Hello and aloha pa, friends. As you can see, I have extracted my tooth, and disappointment dentist has been a long time till the tooth heals up. So I thought it's inappropriate for me to go on the video and talk, because some of you may not be able to hear me in pronunciations problem. But then on the other hand, I thought the truth is simple and it does not need artistic cover-up. And so, yes, I'm still alive, barely. I've lost my hair, as you can see, my tooth, and I'm older. Time is 10:12 on Friday, the 5th of April, 2019. It was a while that I put the last videos. There are several ideas have developed within my mind, and the questions that people have asked that has urged me finally to explain a few things. I don't know if I have been a contributing factors to what I'm trying to say, is that I have seen a lot of disappointment among the Baha'is. A close friend of mine, a few people in Toronto and others, that they have expressed disappointment at where the Baha'i Faith is going, and it seems it's all dying out and it's getting diminished, just so-called the divine light of God. And I've had several discussions with this close friend of mine that he utterly disapproves of the Baha'i administration and the fact that they have dealt with me and people like me. These excommunication problems and all that. And this has created a great deal of disappointment among the Baha'is. They don't think Baha'i Faith is going to survive. This administration is basically killing it. And then if there's no administration, something else will happen, and what's happening to this faith? The discussion between me and this friend was a whole lot on the fact that humanistic ideologies all around the globe is right now increasingly developing, and basically they're incorporating even the Baha'i Faith within themselves, because they had no qualm with anybody else, and they feel that administration of any kind will end up to corruptions and create the present situations. I'd like to tell you that do not be disappointed at the Baha'i Faith. This present phase that we are in, or in the future a lot worse than this, it just is a part of the process. When the Baha'i Faith comes in the beginning of 1844, the entire effort of Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazim for many years developing students to be ready to accept the coming of the Bab. He clearly told them. He even told them, I will die in the next few days and the promised one will come and you will find him. With such an illicit and vivid, shall we say, prophecy or explanations, insight, yet quite a few of them, they went even against Bob. And Bob complains from them a lot. So a lot of them were filtered away, and those who were good, they accepted Bob. Bob, in the beginning, he tells them, I am not the promised one, but I'm representing the promised one. And a whole lot of people came, and when he saw the numbers increasing, he started the filter. And then he told them that I am actually the Imam, and I was representing myself. I just didn't want to tell you who I am exactly by the name, but now you know who I am spiritually. Therefore, time has come for me to tell you who I am. And after a few years again, the number increases. And then again it sets the filter and tells them that as for the promised one, is not who you think he is, to be an imam and a follower of Muhammad the Prophet. No, no, no. I am a new messenger of God. A whole lot of people again went away. Disappointment was all over. Great deal of great believers, like Mullah Abdul Khaliq Yazdi, many of them. They just left. They could not bear this, that he says these things. And Bob talked about the promised one, comes after him. Then a student, Bob, was martyred. Azal, which was supposed to be had a certain responsibility according to some tablets. He went over and he called himself the chief of the Babis, and he's a successor of the Bab, and start to fight with Baha'u'llah. At this point, Baha'i Faith, you could have said, died. Testimony to the fact is that Baha'u'llah actually quit his mission. This has happened in Islam and in Christianity, but Baha'u'llah vividly for 2 years, he just quit. There was no faith left, really. And people, they saw what Azal is doing. For the sake of the truth or saving the Bab, they claim they're the successor. They said 25 of them. So, and finally, they find Baha'u'llah, that he calls himself Darwish Muhammad in the Kurdistan mountain. He came. There was nothing left of the faith of all those 20,000 believers. They died, martyred. So Baha'u'llah started again. So at his time, several filters came in, and many great deal of the great, big, huge Baha'is, they left. They broke the covenant and they left. At Baha'u'llah's ascension comes Abdul Baha. Again, the brother Abdul Baha came here, tried to break the faith of God, and he took a lot of people away, and remaining ones under Abdul Baha thrived, and he came to United States, come to the Shoghi Effendi, and all the family of Shoghi Effendi rise against him. His aunties and families that, who are you young boy, you want to say that we have no inheritance from our father and this and that. And Abdullah Shoghi Effendi said, no, there's something to be given to you, but none of this is yours. So what I'm trying to tell you, that in many times Baha'i Faith has gone through this cleansing process, because the future of mankind is way different from what we can imagine right now. And this kind of a dirt cannot be a part of it, not in this faith. This faith, unlike any other faiths of God, is based on necessity. Baha'u'llah set his mission absolutely without any force, proselytizations, insinuations, manipulations. He says, except pure piety, pure virtue, I will not accept nothing else but that. He says that. He doesn't want people that are not there. And today we are going through one of this process again. Hands Up the Cause of God in 1963. They had no choice whatsoever, but to ask the Baha'is to form the universal laws of justice, because they had no answer. For the Baha'is, as who is the Shoghi and the successors and all that. They were not infallible, they didn't want to talk about it. They hand the responsibility to universal laws of justice. And, again, Mason Remy went away and all that jazz. So, these are the cleansing process that's happening that's very much necessary. Right now, today, the head of the Baha'i Faith, which is the universal laws of justice, is completely gone waywarded. It's gone astray. And that is the result of it, is that the Baha'i Faith in the communities all over the world is breaking down. Okay? Nothing will be possibly left. This is why I am here. There was no reason for me to come here. Baha'u'llah's commissioned me to come and bring the truth to the people. Now, let's answer a couple of questions. Based on the observation, this friend of mine was saying that he has seen the people before they become Baha'is. They were very nice people. Very good. And that's why they became Baha'i. But after they became Baha'i, they turned around. They became arrogant, proud, and just dysfunctional. Dictatorial attitude and all kind of things. I concurred with him. I said, I have observed that as well. Yes, I have seen that. So he said then, well, what is the use, If people are knowing Baha'u'llah and this Baha'i teaching, and they're becoming worse than before, what is the use of it? It's a very important observation. I'm sure many of you. But you got to put a magnifying glass to find out what's happening. I had a brother once who was telling me that there's Mr. Ghorbanpur in Majidiyah several times. He actually cheated me, took my money and didn't pay me. And is he a Baha'i? I told him yes, he's a Baha'i, but he has failed in certain area. But he still is a Baha'i. He said then he goes to heaven and all that, and I am not. I told him yes, you're not. But he has a chance to do so. He told me, I don't understand. What kind of a logic is this? It sounds like so illogical. It's so unbelievable. I cannot believe you say that. I said, one thing I said Mr. Ghorbanpur does that you don't do, and you can't. What is that? I said, just go like him for 1 week. Just 1 week. Just announce that you're a Baha'i. Do you have the guts to do that? You don't, isn't it? This is how hard it is to be a Baha'i. But he is. If they take his wife and his daughter and his family, he will not reject the faith. He dies. But it's not perfect. It's failing, yes. But it's a Baha'i. There's two things here to observe. One is the effect of the Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah directly on individual, and the next is on the Baha'i society. as the individuals, all these Baha'is, they have lots of great connection to Baha'u'llah. They will go on martyr. In Iranian especially, I know many of them, if it comes to it, because they have recognized the truth and they are in love with the relationship they have created with Baha'u'llah, for which they will give away all their life and everything. And believe me, that's not for any honor that might come to them. It's just at that time they enjoy doing what they're doing. There's resistance. Now put them together in a room, they don't get along. That's the fact. So the relationship of Baha'u'llah with the individual is intact. Baha'is they are believers, and they act and they perform and they do what they do. But as a society, when they come together, they're not perfect. Because we are going through this phase. So, why is it not perfect, their community? A lot of problem with the Baha'i communities. Many Baha'is are registered in the cities. Most of the majority of them, they do not want to come in the gathering. Maybe 10-15% of them come, but the rest of them, they don't come. And there's this cloud of, doubts all over the place on them, that what's going on, why things are the way it is. Why Abbas Temori has been announced as a covenant breaker. Why are they saying he's the enemy of Baha'u'llah? He's not. So, what you have to consider, just to be fair, is that the gathering of the people is based on economical value, based on the social desires and setting, and only one, none other, just one. The Baha'i community is a spiritual mission. They're not gathered socially. In a Baha'i meeting, the people that are there, I've seen it several times, especially in Canada, I can see it. These people outside of this gathering, they wouldn't even talk together. The guy is clearly a racist, but he has become a Baha'i. The other guy on the other side is a native who hates attitude like this certain man has seen it, but he comes there too. Another East Indians and Iranians and Arabs in there, that is questionable for the rest of the Canadians. These people have gathered here not based on the social coherence or social affinities. None of that is there. They are there because Baha'u'llah told them to get together. Even in Iran was like that, I remember. The guy could be the general of the army. You could not even say his name. But he's down there with a labor worker who otherwise would never want to see him. But they were there. And he has opinion. He says his opinion. Often he becomes a member of the assembly and the general is not. So this responsibility, which is their spiritual mission, is 1,000 times more and more difficult to handle, the forbearance that's required, than the social gathering, a political gathering. People are getting together, whatever, to drink or to have party, for political reason, for whatever, sport reasons. They all know each other, they like each other, they get together, But here, people actually don't like each other. They're not even friends. But they're coming here to prove a point. To say that although I am a racist and I'm a white Anglo-Saxon, I understand Baha'u'llah is the manifestation of God. I have come to fix myself. And very, very happily smiles at this native. Man, I've seen it in Canada. So, it is like their students. They might be the highest grade when they were in high school. As they enter university, they're all dying under the burden of the study and the task they have. Baha'is are doing something that is impossible to do on the planet. Every means of communications, everything is made to separate them, differentiate them, to create preferences, one group over the others. Baha'is are going to say those things are not right and we're going to say otherwise. But they believe that theoretically, but when it comes to action, it becomes very difficult. I say a single word, immediately is interpreted as that I'm an arrogant man, I'm a proud man, or whatever. And I see them in different ways. This is the cause, this is the reason that the Baha'i community seemingly is not doing very well compared to the other communities. It's because of the task they're handling. It's a huge task, brother. So, and then this humanistics, whatever, these bozos, they're thinking by regurgitating what Baha'u'llah has said, or even some great guys like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or Mandela and others, they bring these things up in the comfort of their homes, creating website and concurring and confirming, yes, we all have together, we all have to love each other, we have to all accept each other. What is the purpose behind it? So that they get recognized. It is impossible that they're not there for a benefit, for a profit. Okay? Now, you want to say that this ideology is succeeding and better than Baha'u'llah's and the Baha'i Faith? Well, seemingly the words might be the same or even better. Baha'u'llah says, when it comes to speech and talks, my enemies they've gone further than me. They're winning, this is a losing battle for me. If I have to talk, they talk better. So what is it that differentiates Baha'u'llah from the humanist leaders? I tell you, my friends, it's not words. It's not even the books. It's not even the revelations. It's not any of this. Just look and see if you can find anybody in the planet right now since last 200 years as influential as Baha'u'llah, that made, just in recent years, 1 million Baha'is in Iran. Many of them are gone. Still there's 500,000-600,000 left. They all suffer under the regime of Iran. Every day they are living with a fear. Their children have been kicked out of the schools, their job lost. from the beginning of this revolution, all kind of things they've been telling them. You see? Why are they holding to their fate? Who has this power on the planet that people listen to him and suffer every day under humiliation, restrictions, ostracizations, inflictions? Who has the power to create a joy for the people, that they prefer the joy of listening to him and obeying him than have food on the table, than sending the children to school, than losing their jobs, going to jails. More than few thousands of them die. Show me anybody that has this power and influence. Of people that are very learned, not some kind of a ignorable, ignorant people. These are all educated people, mostly to the level of university, at least. You see? Who has the power to come from Iran, not being able to speak English, in 1912 to United States, and Americans who take savage wage to go to work in Iran, that downgrade is Iran, and this old man called Abdul-Baha come with his Eastern clothing to United States, and the churches, they beg him to come and talk. He says all day they shook my hand so much that I have pain on my hand because I've been shaking hands. These prestigious Americans, the cream of the crop of the civilization, they're begging him to come and speak in churches. Even President Roosevelt attended one of them. Why would American do that? What is the influence here? Can any of these humanistic people of any kind, or Muslim and Christian, to go to each other's holy places and they get invited? Sure, Christian says to Ayatollah, come over to church, talk about the Christianity, that it's over and you are the next religion after us. This is the miracle performed by Abdul-Baha and by Americans. Which part of these Americans this Iranian man touched that they spent so much of their money, of livelihood to spend, that they had this Baha'i temple in Chicago and Illinois? Which Iranian at the age 25 has so many people called hands of the cause of God? At least 2/3 of them are foreigners, Europeans, Americans. Majority of them actually are white people. They follow this young man and they bend in front of him. They call him master, the guardian of the faith. Why would they do that? Where is that influence coming from? This is the answer, my friend, that Baha'u'llah is the creator of a spiritual pleasure that no one is capable of doing it. Set into practice. Tomorrow, take the Baha'i books. You don't need to be a Baha'i. Just go downtown somewhere, take a book, say, hello, somebody. I wanted to talk to you about Baha'i Faith if you're interested. Learn a few things and tell them. As soon as you finish, you feel a special joy. If you do it 10 times, you get addicted to it. And remember, this is not some kind of a narcotic. No. As he called it, is the wine of certitude. This is why you can teach Baha'i Faith and become strong. I was a Muslim boy who knew nothing. And I haven't learned anything from anybody. If I read it, it was because to criticize them or to know how they are lost, not to learn anything from them. But I've learned everything from Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i Faith. Are these humanists who believe all these things and regurgitate it, are they willing to die? Are they willing to go to Iran, in Egypt, in Afghanistan to teach their teachings? Are they ready to take on to go to jail? To die for it? I guess not. This is the difference between Baha'u'llah and them. This is a spiritual things. To put it simply, when it comes to your mother and father, many of you Anglo-Saxons have a bad relationship with your mother and father. I don't know what example should I give you. But perhaps many of you have somebody in your life that you have 100% trust. Maybe it's your mother, father, uncle, brother. Can you compare his word to anybody else when it comes to trust? You don't. You trust your mother when it says you know she's not going to go against you. Or your father. Children, in most cases. Baha'u'llah is that relationship. He is not your father. Your father is a tube. You come out of it. Your actual begetter, which the design of your body is an emanation of his will. Your very soul, the software of your body, is just an emanation of his desire. And you on the third level of existence begging to have these tools, and he gives it to you. That you may become the part of the family. I cannot think possibly anything in the world that I could adhere to, attach to, love to, from money to power to sex, I don't know, to anything that can sustain me as much as Baha'i Faith has in the past, 40 years or so. It's a never-ending pleasure. So diagnostically speaking though, the other criticism came from this friend is that this Baha'is in the name of counselor or in the name of assistant or the board member or the member of assembly or some kind of a writer, they come in such a power to dictate to others. They're expecting me to sit down on my chair for hours to listen to him without interrupting him or asking him any questions. And I said I concur with that too. Baha'i Faith has uprooted the entire system of existence in the divinity department since the beginning of mankind. When Shoghi Effendi came, Baha'is some of them were going to mosque along with the Muslims. They were mingled with the Muslims because so much of Islam is in the Baha'i Faith. Shoghi Effendi had a lot of trouble to get them not to go to the mosque anymore. Not mingle with the Muslims. Have your own assembly. Distinguish yourself. So people know that this is an independent faith of God. so they don't misunderstanding get with Islam and other things. This process of independence, it was very hard for a lot of Baha'is. So you see, we evolved. But there is one problem that Baha'is, especially Iranian, they don't get it well. And that is Mullaism, priesthood. They don't get it yet. They think anybody who has read books, has serviced the cause of God, or is member of administration, have some kind of a preference over other people. God perhaps have chosen them. They seriously believe some people on the planet are preferred by God over others. This is the most blasphemous, the most anti-Baha'i idea. In the eye of Baha'u'llah, as it is written in the book, there is no difference between Charlie Manson, was killed, Sharon Tate, Ayatollah Khomeini, Genghis Khan, or anybody in earth. He loves them all. He has not barred any one of these people to enter the faith of God. Not. In the Baha'i Faith, it is possible for Charlie Manson to go through salvation, for Ayatollah Khomeini to change, for Genghis Khan to go to heaven. Nobody is barred. Nobody. And anybody who has done anything in the manner of the service or writings or whatever, that does not cause any preference in eye of Baha'u'llah. He says, whenever these questions of higher and lower and better and worse came in, God left from one door, Satan came from the other door in. In the spiritual realm, there is no up and down. It says in 7 valleys, all the differences in the heat of love is melted away. Even there's no difference between God and his people. Baha'u'llah says, I find myself as utter nothing when I compare myself to one of the believers of God. I don't know where this idea of Baha'u'llah's people, as in Persian they call them khawas, specials, where they have found in the Baha'i Faith that they think if somebody has written books, like who's my favorite fellow, Fariduddin Radmehr or Ashraf Khabari, means anything. It means nothing to Baha'u'llah. You did what you liked. Somebody collects cards, somebody collects comic books. You wanted to go read Baha'i books. Because of that, you're not better than others. Because of that, Baha'u'llah is not paying more attention to you than others. That's just stupid. If that's the way it is, then God is not just. In practical terms, any man in the planet at any time can adopt to the kindness. Is anybody barred from being kind? Generous? Being good, being righteous? No. Well, that is the realm of God. Then God has no preference or stopping or barring of anybody at any time. This has to go in the ear of the Baha'i friend in Iran. That a big writer, a big serviceman, all of that could mean nothing in the eye of Baha'u'llah. What can I say? He says, at the hour of death, in the last seconds of dying, I'm paraphrasing, He says so many devout believers, they might go to the nethermost part of the hell, and other way around. Who knows, Ayatollah Khomeini, at the last minute of his death, he might have repented and gone to heaven. Do I know? No. Therefore, a spiritual judgment is closed. We do not know. Never mind, some of the Baha'is are special. Even non-Baha'is and the Baha'is and all, they all look the same in the eye of Baha'u'llah. Many Baha'is are on the way to get out of the faith. Many non-Baha'is are on the way to come into the faith. So if somebody is because, like this fellow in Illinois, I shouldn't bring his name even, he has a huge resume of being the atomic head of energy in the US, so many diplomas and this and that and that. And at the end of his life, now he's turning into the Baha'i Faith. He has such a dictatorial attitude, I'm heard by others, that you can't even talk to him. I said to people, well, leave him to himself. It's harming himself. Someone talks, we don't like it, just leave the room. Don't backbite him, don't speak to him, just let him go. It came to my attention, somebody brought someone's writing. I look at it. I said to myself, my God, my Lord, why these Baha'is, they don't understand. All kinds of ways and means they're trying to compare Baha'i faith and Baha'i ideology to the other great philosophers or this or that. This comparison is flawed. You cannot compare a circle to a potato. You cannot compare Chrysler building to a mountain. One is natural and organic, the other one is artificial and man-made. The writing and the work of Baha'u'llah cannot be compared to them. This writing, they carry a soul with them. This is why they're not edited. All the writing of the Bab is not edited. It's because at the time he has a feeling when he reveals. That feeling is on those words. When you read it, you change. He doesn't want to change it as it is. So it cannot be compared. This writing is not based on thinking. Baha'u'llah doesn't think to create. He doesn't think to write. Bob says in 6 hours I can, without the stopping of the pen, without thinking, just because a natural instinct, I write 6,000, verses. Clearly says I'm not thinking, but I'm writing. Sometimes I was looking at somebody else just like a typewriter and I was writing. I want to compare this to Immanuel Kant. It's not that it is wrong or right. It's not that this is higher or that is better. It's not comparable. That's all I'm saying. It's not comparable. My work is not comparable to the writing of Baha'u'llah. It might even look better and nicer, mine. Still, it's not his. This is the word of your mother. This is the word of your father. The effect of this word is so mysterious. We don't know where it hits. But it makes 500,000 Iranians suffer for 35 years under restrictions, ostracizations, everything because Baha'u'llah said so. It makes millions of Americans to come to see Abdul-Baha in 1912, begging him to come to the churches and speak to them, and Abdul-Baha does not have even time to do it. And they're white people, and Abdul-Baha doesn't speak English. He even had the translators that was mistranslating. which time that somebody says to go to Japan. Ms. Alexander, Agnes Alexander goes to Japan and spent all her life start community in Japan. The Jewish man, Musa Banani, he goes all the way to Africa, all his life, spend there to bring African revival. This is the power of Baha'u'llah. This is the spiritual power. Baha'u'llah is not in competition with anybody. I'm not trying to defend him here. I'm not capable of defending him. I'm just trying to tell you, do not mix things up for yourself. A. Two, do not be disappointed at the Baha'i Faith. Baha'i Faith has got ups and downs. This present Baha'i institution, that it is there, I will be speaking again about it later on, what has to be done, is the problem. But Baha'i administration, even if it was 100% correct, Baha'i Faith definitely would have been tuned on what it's supposed to do, but that still will not help those who want to know why in North America since 1984 every church, every city has a Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witnesses, or every city has a church of Latter-day Saint, but there are not too many Baha'is. Because Baha'i Faith is hard. It's about honesty, purity. Well, there aren't that many people pure. There aren't that many people honest. You see, super honest. They're not. They're going towards ideas for satisfaction, for being recognized. People don't thank you. People help. That's the reason. Baha'is, they go to teach in Iran to get slapped by the Muslim brethren. They still go. Because they know Baha'u'llah is waiting for them. The supreme divine majesty was created every cell in the bodies of the mankind. These entire planets and entire galaxies, which we know, which is nothing but a dot over the reality that He is. He is ordering. He is speaking. His Baha'u'llah is a simple windows from a huge reality. Now people in humanistics, ideas of a day, they come down and they want to, this friend of mine was saying that, oh yeah, Baha'i Faith after 170 years has collapsed. It's dying. I said, no, this is the present phase. Because it's evolving into another phase. The death of this worm into the cocoon is the rebirth of the butterfly. And it's keep going. Universal laws of justice is one good word I remember, that Baha'i Faith is an organic ideology, if you want to call it. It evolves like a tree into things we don't know. So I hope this sheds some light on the subject. But be smart. Don't be disappointed in it. Don't look at these things. The person, the being behind it is way, my Lord, He is so way bigger than all of us. But He's so gentle. He's so subtle that by no means He would order anybody interfere in their willpower. But if He says something has to be done, otherwise it will not be, it's not because He's dictating it that way. He's just looking at the different dimensions, just just like a father to the children, telling my son, don't play with that. Don't go that road. But yet he let the child to do it, to go to learn. Father knows. The boy is only 5 years. Father is, 30 years old. He knows exactly this will go wrong if the boy goes against it. That is a circumstance. It's just an analogy. But Baha'u'llah, of course, is billions and trillions. But years you cannot say. It's a different being, a different level. So, Baha'i Faith is not failing. I'm here. If I come around, how can I? I am the fruit of the Baha'i revelation. A Muslim boy who is encompassed whatever philosophy or knowledge in every field, and a student of Baha'u'llah. And he wants to say to you on behalf of Baha'u'llah that we all have this capacity. And it's not knowledge, no. It's not services, no. It's not hard work, no. None of that. Those are all manifestations. The real thing is that those qualities. Abdullah says a lover sitting is way better than the wise man in motion. Do you have that love towards God, towards Baha'u'llah, towards humanity? Even if you can't do anything, if you're handicapped, you achieved it. That's it. But you have to learn all this knowledge and everything else. Now you have come to the conclusion that Baha'u'llah has graced you differently than others. You must be special because of it. Then you didn't get it. Who can dare to stand in front of Baha'u'llah and he talks about his children, which are the humanity, that one is better than others? The best thing that happens if you say they're bad, well then go fix them. If you can't, stay away from them, he says. Okay? They're wicked doers, just stay away from them. But don't feel that you're any better than them at any point. Because ups and downs is a part of this contingent world, okay? Allah Apa, thank you.